Hi there, my name's Starling. I'm a clinical aromatherapist, and today I want to talk about how essential oils are made. There are four main methods that are used. The first one, and one of the oldest ones, is the enfleurage method, which is simply using a fat to absorb the scent of a plant. You can use a liquid, like a sunflower oil, something that doesn't have its own scent. Put in a plant material that you want to extract the components of, put it in with the fat, leave it, shake it, expose it to light, keep in the darkness, depends on what you're doing, and then you can remove the plant material and put more in until you have a very strong smelling or strong flavored oil. But again, that's not a pure essential oil. The second enfleurage method is when you take a solid fat like lard, and you take the plant material, you mix it together, you spread it thin on a board, and then you place weight over top of it. And after a time, you remove the plant material, put more fresh in until you have a strong, scented, solid fat. And that you can use for solid perfumes. This is still used a bit in perfumery, but it's definitely not common anymore. The second oldest form of extracting essential oils in a more pure sense is the cold process method, and there's two ways of going about that. The first method, which is something that you can even do at home, but is not used too widely commercially at all, is when you take the peel of the citrus fruit, you soak it in water, you let it dry, and then you squeeze it into a sponge. But that's, it's not very productive. The second way, which I can't pronounce, but it's a French term, is when you take a funnel that is essentially a zester and it has spikes inside, and you rotate the citrus fruit inside of it, and it breaks up the peel, which extracts the essential oils, which drip down into the tapered part of the funnel. And once you're done, you let it sit for a bit, and then you collect the oil from the remaining plant matter. And this is done by hand, but nowadays this exact process is completable through machinery. And this is strictly for citrus fruits that they do this with, and it produces an oil that has a shorter lifespan. It also does not remove harmful qualities of the oil. So with citrus fruits, they have a tendency to be phototoxic to varying degrees. Bergamot and lime are the biggest offenders for this, and you can find those being distilled, but it doesn't produce as high quality of an oil. But the cold process has a shorter lifespan, and it does have the phototoxic issues with it. The main way that most essential oils are extracted is through the distillation format, and that is done through steam or by water. So distillation of the essential oils is pretty much how distilled alcohols are made. When they're done through the steam distillation method, they're heated under pressure. The steam passes through the plant material, collects the essential oils, it cools down in the coils, and then the essential oil is extracted from the water. The leftover water is what we call hydrosols, and you can get benefits from them as well. One of the greatest ones is German chamomile hydrosol, which is good for pink eye. Not the essential oil, but the hydrosol water. And sometimes some plants, depending on what they are, they have to go through this a few times or get filtered a lot. Cajeput, for example, is rather dusty, so it has to be done a few times and filtered well, because just the plant itself has a lot of impurities just on the leaves. And some, like ylang ylang, are processed up to 4 times, and each time it produces a different grade of the oil. So there's ylang ylang extra, then 1, 2, and 3, and each time the quality of the oil goes down. So ylang ylang 3 is way cheaper than ylang ylang extra, but ylang ylang extra is pretty much like extra virgin olive oil and its quality. So then there's the water distillation process, and this is not done as much under pressure. It is low and slow, and it is used for things like rose and neroli, and it allows delicate plants to not be damaged through the process. But oddly, this is not good for every type. You don't want to use the water distillation method on lavender because you won't get a high quality oil. So you do need the steam distillation process. So one's not better than the other. It just depends on what the plant is and what quality you want from it. So the last main way that essential oils are collected is through a chemical extraction. And this creates what we call absolutes. You've probably seen rose absolute or jasmine absolute, and there's reasons for this. So there's two reasons why somebody may choose to use a chemical to extract the essential oils from a plant. And this is actually the main way that the perfume industry collects its essential oils to use. And the first reason is that the chemical solvent extraction creates a higher quality smelling oil. The oils are going to smell much more true to the actual plant than through a distillation process. And we need to remember that the way a plant smells is not 100% due to its essential oils. So that's why the essential oils may not always smell exactly like how the plant does. But if you want, for example, a rose to smell like an actual rose, you're going to want to do the chemical solvent extraction as opposed to the water distillation. The second reason that somebody may choose to do this is that some plants can only have their essential oils extracted this way. Unless you use the enfleurage method, but to get a more pure oil instead of one that's been soaked in fats. And this is true for things like jasmine and carnation. They don't work in any other method. So what they do is they get a chemical, petroleum ether, hexane, methanol, and benzene are the ones that are most commonly used. And the plants, they're soaked in there, and then they go through a distillation process on low heat. And what happens is the essential oils are extracted, but so are a lot of impurities, creating a rather thick, gooey-like substance. And then then it's treated with alcohol, making it have a minimum amount of impurities and a higher percentage of the pure essential oils. And this keeps happening until you get the pure essential oil. So those are the main methods of how essential oils are created. There's some outlying methods that people have tried over the years, and some of them produce very high quality essential oils, but they're very expensive, or they don't produce high quality oils at all, or they produce something that can even be debated whether or not it actually is a true essential oil. And so I'm not going to talk about those because they're kind of pointless. You don't need to worry about them. So yes, what you need to remember is that absolutes are used with chemicals and alcohol to extract, and sometimes that's the only way you can get them. Cold process is very old method and used with citrus fruits, but it creates a high quality smelling oil with a low shelf life and potential phototoxic properties. Steam distillation is the most common type, and water distillation is less common but can be beneficial for certain types of plants. So I hope that you found this interesting. If you have any questions involving essential oils, their safety, with any health issues that you have, or the reactions with any medications, you can leave me a comment below. If you don't want to post it publicly, you can tell me that below, and then we'll find a way for you to ask me in a private manner. And then also always remember, for the love of Peter Steele, don't eat essential oils.